All right. How you guys doing? Good, good. I'm nervous. Normally, when any chance you get to be asked to tell your story, right? It's always like, am I gonna tell the right thing? Like I'm in my 30s, and it's like you think about that, you're like, where do I even start, right? So today, I'm excited to share a little bit, and I put up gratitude. And I was on my run this morning. My topic was supposed to be unwritten, but then this morning everything clicked, and it's like, Benson, you need to talk about gratitude. So as I talk about it today, we'll be talking about my story from a gratitude standpoint. So if you haven't heard, my name is Benson. Who can say my last name? I want to hear how somebody can say it right. How do you say it? Close. You got it. My name is a little bit, everybody calls it a little bit different, but it's okay, I don't get offended. I just say it, but I'm just always wanting to see how everybody responds to it. So, you're doing the math already, 1988 to 2009. I want to tell it in different phases, right? And part of it really is to break it down in just to kind of help you see the journey from a different angle, right? Born in Kenya in 1988, my birthday is coming up December 15th. So that was my stay from living in Kenya 1988 to 2009. How that is going to happen is I'll break it into 3 different phases, and then we'll wrap it up with where we are today. So everything you need, you have. When I was born around maybe like 8 o'clock in the morning. My middle name, Kip Kiroi, which is now, I didn't put it up there, it's actually, you're named after somebody else. So I think for me, I was named after my great-great-grandfather. So that's my middle name. My last name is my dad's name. I put up everything you need, you have, because as we talk about gratitude, when was the last time you were grateful for something? When you woke up this morning, what was the first thing that was running through your head? Did you wake up thinking, man, I'm grateful to be alive today? Did you wake up saying, man, today's not going to be a good day, right? I mean, when was the last time you honestly could feel like you woke up with a sense of gratitude? Where you said, I have my left arm, it's moving, my right arm is moving. Everything you have in your life, everything you need, you have. So as we go to the next slide, I don't have my clickers, I have to. So you see me doing something and you're like, this guy. So let's go to the next one. It's the small things. Gratitude based on my life, small things. I'm the oldest of 3. My dad and my mom, they all live in Kenya. My brother, my sister, they all live in Kenya. I'm the oldest. So being the oldest come with responsibilities, right? A lot of sacrifices, a lot of different things you have to do. My mom is go back a little bit. My mom is someone who made a difference in our family. She used to sell corn, to sell it to the buses in the bus stop. It is, for one, it's called mahindi, that's the Swahili name of corn. So she used to sell one for how much that is in dollars, for one of them. And some days she might end up making less than $1 a day. That's how we survive. I'm grateful for that. When she would go she would wake up in the morning, get us ready for school and stuff like that, she would then go buy fresh corn and then go by the bus stop and really use a charcoal, and then charcoal like a stove, a charcoal thingy, and then you just put the corn. Sometimes the corn ends up drying, so nobody wants them, so that becomes a waste. Sometimes that was our lunch. I'm grateful for those experiences. It cost that much in dollars to, that's how we survive, that's how we would get food, that's how we, and for me, I say this, the small things, because now I look back, I used to think, wow, why does life have to be like that for us? But for me, I'm grateful for those moments. Let's go next. Right here, this is the light that gave me life. This was the light. So this one here, this has a wig in it. With this one here, you have to put, we call it paraffin. So basically you have to put oil and then light it up, light it. So this was something that I would use for studying. As you see on the slide, it's not the same one, but I had to read, I actually got this when I was in Kenya in August. I told my mom I need one for my home office. Now I have almost 40 lights in my house, but it all started with this. When we would study for school, this was shared between my brother, my sister, and sometimes my parents would need it because imagine, sometimes we couldn't even afford to fill this thing up. Now, when I think about so much, I never thought about how many lights I actually had to count this morning. Like 1, 2, 3, 4, almost like a lot of them. And then I even have like other lamp stands and stuff like that. So it's like, it's crazy to think, but I say that because this is the light that really got me to be the best, one of the best students in my primary school. Scored really well because of this. This thing could smell so bad. The smoke that comes out of it, you don't want to, but I'm grateful for this. Let's go next. When my bare feet touch the floor, that's something that I miss. I'm grateful for that too. I mean, I look back now and I'm like, wow, that's the reason. Sometimes when I was putting this together, I didn't want it to sound like this is like from unfortunate, but I mean, like that's how life was. I did not know we didn't know so many things. We didn't think there was better than that. We only had one pair of shoes. That was we go to church, weddings, and any occasion. School, we went barefoot. I guarantee you, I played soccer with my bare feet on gravel. I would get a little bit crack on my foot, but that did not bother me at all, because that was life. Now, I'll talk about it a little bit ahead, but I have so much shoes, because now, being a sponsored athlete, I get overwhelmed with all these shoes now. I get anxiety, it's like, what am I going to wear today? But sometimes we get overwhelmed with small things. But sometimes for me, I have to go back there. The reason I start with some of this is because with gratitude, for me, I have to look back into something like this, that when I'm complaining about so many things that I don't have control over, this is where it all started. Let's go next. Talking about running changed my life. I'm a runner, some people know me. I have my friend over there, Ethan, he's a runner, I coach him, his dad, and some people, it did change my life. When I did put on the shoe, I was training with some of the fastest people. They were running some fastest times in the world, but I was exposed to train with them. I'm the guy in the front, I'm struggling, they're relaxing. And part of that was I was still young, right? I was still figuring it out. But before we got there, I want to go back a little bit about growing up. My family, wonderful family. My dad struggled with alcohol, still struggle with addiction, but I love him so much. My mom had to endure, had to get us ready for everything. had to get us to school, had to make sure we succeed in college, high school and all that. But there is nothing more that I'm thankful for, because all those experiences of growing up really helped me to see things differently. When I started running, I was not that in a good shape. I was a rugby player, weighing, I think, 205 pounds or 200 and something. I could really blow you. Like, I played in a semifinals of the national team. I would just plow through you like nothing great, so, but then I stopped that, and then I started running. And so, running changed my world for a reason. I'm here today because of running. Part of it is schooling too, while schooling and running. That's how I got to the United States. So, it did change my life, because the person that told me to start running really told me to work on myself in so many ways. Like, running really did shape me in a lot of different ways. Discipline. Training in Kenya was rough, but also humbling, because then you don't have the training facilities that you have. Sometimes you don't even have access to a balanced diet, because now it's not available. It is not, maybe you don't even afford it. Many times, I remember going to sleep. We didn't have food with my best friend Oscar. We didn't. Our parents didn't, we didn't have food. But we've trained so hard. But part of that is you just have to drink water. Just go to sleep. It's part of the process. I look back now, and when I'm complaining about my fridge, it's like so many options. It takes me back. I'm grateful for moments like that. I look back and I say, man, those were the days that helped me get to where I am today. Patience. My coach told me that word, Benson, to be able to make it to anywhere you want to make it to, you gotta be patient. Patience for me has been one of the biggest things, because managing life, managing everything, you gotta be patient. I put that up because my name popped up in the 800 meters. If you can see it very well, I was #1 in one of the IAAF championships at that time. That is me from being a rugby player to actually placing second to last in one of the local races in the 800. A high school kid could beat me. A high school girl would beat me at Harvard Wood, and I would get almost to last. That's how I began. And to run the time at 1:49, that's pretty quick. That's an NCAA standard. That's how I got recruited. It took a lot. Patience took me 2.5 years to get to that point. And it took a lot of discipline. I'm grateful for what I learned through that moment. I'm grateful for a lot of different things. As we get to the next slide, journey to America, and I shared that Jackie hosts the late night movie. You gotta check it out. I have a YouTube. I think it's on YouTube, right? I did a thing with him. It was like, my friend, my athlete friend called, said, Benson, I think you should do Jack's thing. I'm like, okay, man, I've never done something like this, but bring it on, right? And so we did it. What's super cool is, I never done something like that before. But the reason I say that is because I shared my first experience in New York. I had to knock on the elevator because I didn't know. It's like, this is what's the elevator, it's actually an elevator. I didn't know you gotta press something for it to open. So I'm knocking and I'm like, it's not opening. I thought it was just a regular door, right? But I say that's my first experience. But one of the hardest experiences I had to make, my mom gave me $18 and around 45 cents. That's all I had when I landed in New York. I did not know what to do at that time. Lucky enough, I went to North Carolina to visit my uncles, But when I came to, I landed in Wichita, I'm like, I never seen snow before. This is very interesting. I'm sitting on the window and I'm like, everywhere is white. Like I'm about to land and I'm like, I am not staying here. I'm not staying here. I looked at everything, I'm like, this is Kansas. That's where I landed, Kansas. I'm like, I am not staying here. I got out of the plane with a sweater. And first time here, feeling the cold from like hit you, like, wait a minute. And you have to run in this. I was negotiating so many things. I only have a handbag, $18.25. I don't have a phone. I'm basically just in a new place. Here you are, you don't know anybody. A coach who you've never met before picks you up. Start having conversations like you know each other, right? Coach Hunter, who coaches at Wichita State now, really made the process a lot easier for me. I came in, picked me up at the airport, we went to the Golden Corral, and I'm like, this is the first time we have options. We never had options. So I'm like, man, I'm gonna load up. And then my coach is like, Benson, you gotta, I'm like, man, stop it, So we went, he took me to Bala College at that time. That's who recruited me, and then that's in Kansas. And then we got dropped off at, Jackson was the other Kenyan was at this school, so just gonna for him to help me, but he was moving to Wichita State, so I stayed in his place for like 10 days or so. But I say this to say, I was faced to making one of the hardest decisions I ever made, and I never knew that would be one of the hardest things. Now that I look back, I had to, with my $18, I had to decide whether I should buy food or buy a jacket. I'm right at 19 years old, going to 20, trying to figure out which one is important. That was one of the hardest things for me. If I buy food, what about the coat? I went to practice one time, and I had to borrow my coach's jacket. It's like, can I use your jacket? It's like, Benson, because they issued me some uniform. Mine had not arrived. They issued me, mine did not have a zipper, so my coach had to go without it. I remind him sometimes. But that was the hardest moment for me. This jacket I'm talking about it was cold. I'm adapting to a new place. Talk about trying to get into a place where you don't know anybody. I lived a mile away. I'm used to the cold. I'm not used to the cold. Now I have to walk a mile away. I'm still stubborn a little bit, but I'm letting it go. I'm someone who you said, do you need a ride? I said, I'm fine. And guess what I really do? I need a ride. People would honk at me. I don't know what they were asking, but I had to commute a mile away. One of the days, I got a job as a gym supervisor, so I worked 20 hours a week. I was a student and also an athlete. I was trying to manage this new life. But then there was one night, I got down at the gym at 10:30. There was a blizzard. I got stuck crossing the golf course. I'm still new and I'm trying to figure it out. That was hard for me. But one of the greatest things that happened was, there is that calling that you should quit. You should. But I'm very grateful for those experiences, because I took it and said, I'm gonna make the best out of this. Let's go to the next one. Back in college, I was trying to belong. You don't know how life is in America, right? At that moment, you start to really blend in a little bit. You're trying to belong. I see people of my type of color, they're not wearing, I'm the odd one out, I'm wearing khakis and all this. So I'm like, man, young adults trying to, find a lady or something like that. And they're like, you gotta do things a certain way. So my first paycheck, I went to store, bought some Timberland, and it looked very cool, right? I was like, and then I was like, I had met a friend at that time in the team. His name was Abel. He's from Kansas City, and so he took me. We guys like, guys, are you sure you want to get this? I'm like, man, I don't know what else to do. He was like, okay, like you got me stuff. I went to class that day. I'm trying to look a certain way. I'm trying to be, to belong, right? It's all these trends of what's happening. This is my first paycheck. This is what we see on TV. I want to live that life. It took me 2 days of trying hard. I'm dressing different. I'm walking different. I'm even talking different. And when I would talk, it's so weird because I have an accent, so it doesn't really sound super cool. And I was doing more damage to myself. So anyway, so then I just came up, I actually, first time I found this quote. God gave me the serenity to accept the things that I cannot change. And really finding the courage to just be you, just be you. So my friend was like, Benson, you just gotta stop this stuff. And I'm like, man, I thought I looked cool, but I had to let go of that and just back to my khakis. And that's when I've used this story so many times in different spaces, even with therapy, with my clients, because that is a moment for me that I notice, like, we live in a world where we want the new iPhone. We want the new Jordans. You probably know where I'm going with this. We line up day and night, Black Friday, because we want the one thing that's gonna make us look cool. For me, I'm grateful for that experience because now I look back and I'm like, Benson, what were you doing? You learn from it, right? Running became my thing. I did really well in college, came to USD, if you could go to the next one. Graduated with my bachelor level in health sciences. I later got my master's in clinical social work. Recently just graduated with my MBA in strategic leadership out of Dakota Wesleyan University. So I got 2 masters, so I got to be like, oh, it's so cool. But my recent life, really, it's going in a different direction. I do coaching. I do help young athletes. I do help anybody who wants to train for a big day. I'm also teaching. I teach coaching certification for a national organization called Roadrunners Club of America. I was actually fortunate enough to be honored by the Boston Marathon for what I do professionally and helping other people. I look back, really like running changed my life. In 2020, when COVID was around, if you remember, COVID is still around. When I got honored by the Boston Marathon, I had to do my own Boston Marathon because it was virtual. I was doing something and I ran into the mayor. We know each other. And he's like, so what are you up to these days? And I told him about it and he's like, Benson, can I pace you? And so I made it something big. So many people showed up to cheer me run the Boston Marathon in Sioux Falls, which I ended up placing 17th overall, which is super cool. And there were over 35,000 people that ran it virtually. So when I say running changed my world, it really has changed my world. I teach people how to become better coaches. And one of my first subjects that I did in college, freshman year, was public speaking. And I thought I think I got a sympathy A on that because I'm like, there is no way you can actually, because every time I spoke, I'm like, people are like, what are you talking about? And I'm grateful for those experiences because I'm an introvert. I don't want to be in spaces like speaking. But I'm grateful because all those things really got me out of my comfort zone, exposing me to a lot of different things to try out. on you, is to really accept you for being you. For me to be able to apply for the job, for the teaching job, was a very competitive job. Personally, I would go into the space of saying, Benson, don't do it. You don't speak very good English. You don't, because I say this because I actually had one of the jobs that I used to work. They had a script for me because I spoke, I have an accent. So basically, on one of the scripts, I was supposed to apologize for my accent. And somebody would tell me, Benson, why are you doing this job? Over the phone, I was raising money. Why are you doing this job? I'm like, well, I didn't say anything wrong. But I didn't realize that I was draining my courage every single time. When I needed to raise my hand, it was gone. That's the moment for me. I had to leave that job. That's part of a little bit of some things you have to face in life. I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful for all these experiences. Let's go next. One of the big things that I always ask myself is, instead of asking what the world can give you, ask yourself what you can give to the world. We live in a world nowadays, Amazon delivers quicker than, I don't know what, right? They even can deliver same day, right? They can deliver same day. We live in a world where, anything is almost possible. Anything. But for a lot of different things, we are stuck because we don't know what we need to give to the world. We want things to be done for us. And that's something I learned right away. It's like, Benson, nobody's going to come save you. I used to have the mindset, nobody's coming to save you. You come from this place, and the mindset from that is like, always put it here, always put it in your hand. But for me, this time I'm like, what can I give to the world? So let's go to the next one. It's finding purpose. I put that picture up intentionally because the night that experience, I attended Leadership South Dakota, which was a very cool experience. You get to work with a lot of professionals. But the professionalism came down and we became friends. When you think you're going to a place where suits and ties are like intimidating, all that came down. I've met so many cool people through that experience. They voted me to be the keynote speaker at graduation, which is cool. But then the life lessons that I learned from that, it was one time we were in Brookings, so in Leadership South Dakota, we had to go to different towns for a couple of days to learn the community and different things like that. We were in Brookings, and I was getting to know this guy named Bo. He lives in T with his family. And the night before, we had speakers who were talking about, you gotta find your purpose in life. So many of us were kind of wondering, what is that one thing that you really want to do with yourself? The introvert in me is like, oh man, that's not, you don't want to do that. So during that experience, Bo shared about his kids who have muscular dystrophy. This is a fatal disease that these kids might not get to see 18, and he's okay with me sharing that because we've done a lot of work in that space. For me, I was wondering, what is the one thing that I need to do? And in my mind, I need to go to Africa and make things better there, right? Because there's enough people doing things around here. But that was not cutting it for me. So I decided, you know what? I actually told one of the group people, I think I need to do something with my running to make a difference. I would run fast and I would be like, wait, and then what? But for me, I wanted to use running as a vehicle to help others. Let's go to the next one. In the middle, that picture in the middle right there, it was displayed at the expo we were doing. The first year we were doing the run for Brian Rose for Hope is the name of that. So basically, what the idea was, I told Boa that night, After he shared his story, I did not know what to do, but I said, man, I have a great idea. I want to do a run for your boys. I don't know how, but I'm going to talk to Greg and say, so if I run a company to partner with Skedaddle. And then an idea came. I shared it with Greg. I'm going to run from behind after everybody starts the race, and I'm going to chase everybody down. The number of people that I pass, they will find donors to donate for this cause. So I do run professionally for a little bit. I can catch up with a lot of people in a short period of time. So we did that. I threw that idea. The family liked it. We started it. That day, that year, they raised over $20,000. Then the following year, the 1 mile run was named after the organization. And then that same year they started another run in T. And then there was another run, so it's annual now, so there's two different. So basically, the two runs, because of a small idea that I told somebody, let's do this. Now that is raising a lot of money to fund for research, to help support, so that Bo and his family can see their kids a lot longer. Part of that is me finding purpose. I wanted also to do more. So if you've heard of the 437 project, it's a run across the state from the border of Wyoming to Iowa. 3 years ago, the mayor of Sioux Falls, we know each other well. We were sitting in his office. I was actually telling him about the idea of of what I was going to do. And he said, Benson, why don't we run across the state? And I said, oh. And what? It's like, well, we don't know. So we sat down, we came up with ideas. 437 project, we started in the Wyoming border and finished in Sioux Falls the first year. The second year we started and finished at the Iowa border. All of those experiences were to bring awareness to mental health and suicide prevention. Some things that I'm passionate about, using running as a vehicle to help the community be better. For me, I just needed to run and people could raise money. The project so far has raised over, the first year was $150. The second year was, I think, $215,000. What did I say? $115,000. Okay, to put it. The second year we raised, I think it was $150, something like that. I have to do the math. And then the second year was like $215, and then this year they raised over $300,000, $350. It's just really people running to help with that. This year I was a driver because I needed to give people a chance to run into. I just can't do everything, I say that to say my cups fills up when I do things like that. I don't want to be in a lot of spaces like talking too much because I want to be that kid, but I notice I'm finding purpose helping people with my coaching. My motto for my coaching is to use coaching as a vehicle to help others become the best version of themselves. In my therapy work, I use the vehicle analogy that you get in the vehicle, I sit on your driver's seat, you drive it, I'm just your guide. To help you look at that, be the best version of yourself. For me, I found passion in community. I found passion in other people. When I teach, when I do, you're wondering what that picture is. In 2020, last year, when we did the project, I just put it out on Facebook that if you know anybody who's taken their life through suicide, reach out to me and I'll put their name on my shirt and I'll run in the same shirt and the journey got a little bit heavier because I was expecting maybe like less than what I got. I got like 57 names. And I wasn't thinking, I got myself overwhelmed because as the moment I was writing the names down, I'm like, I had to stop. And I was wondering, what is everybody's story about what happened to them? I felt so much responsible for many names out there. And then it hit me that my uncles committed suicide. Then it gets a lot heavier. Reason I shared that is because every single part of my journey now, I'm mindful of that. I'm mindful of sharing about you being okay. Mental health it's a big thing. That's why for me, I use spaces like this to bring that up. Let's go to the next one. Ecclesiastes 3:1. It's time for everything. There is time for every single thing. I'm grateful for the things that I've been exposed to, such as helping in the community. I helped kick off the 5K, the 100-day, 100-mile challenge with Paul. I help with like Skidaro. I help do a lot of cool things. But as we think about things that are happening to us every single day, everything has a timing and reason for it, right? We're entering winter season. How many of you like winter? Okay, that's two. Now let's go to the next one. And then I'll come back to that. Be grateful for every season. This was January, one of the coldest days in South Dakota. That's my friend Ross who did not make it this evening. My running friends, we run together. It was an idea of we should just go run on a Saturday outside. It was the coldest day. The wind was negative 30-something degrees. We were out there. Guess how many miles we ran? Anybody can take a guess? Well, a little bit. Come on, that's too much. No, we ran 12.8 miles or so. I say that to say, I used to say I'll never step out on those conditions. But turn out that became one of the best times that I learned so many things about myself. That if I can run in those conditions, I can do anything. That mentally I ran outside that week, I was really getting excited to lace up my shoes to get outside. Every season teaches you something. Be grateful for that because you get to live in one of the most powerful countries in the world. You're not hiding right now from bullets running down what's happening in other countries. Your day can be almost predicted. That's just be grateful for that. That as you use every season, I told myself, my Kenyan friends are like, Benson, what are you doing in South Dakota? I'm like, what is wrong here? And it's because it's like, oh, don't you like winter? I'm like, I'm the pro when it comes to cold weather. Do I like it? I don't. But when I turn my mental knob into that space, everything gets better. I have used every season to teach me something. This winter, I'm excited for it. It's my building season for my training. But also, I always tell people, it's how you adjust the mental. Let's go to the next one. I'm also in a different season in my life. This year is not the year that I predicted. I didn't expect this year to be the way it is. In March, I had to travel to Kenya. I got a phone call. Why I knew this. My grandfather was, we would talk a little bit, but I FaceTime with him with my uncle's phone. And he looked at me and gave me the eye that I've never seen before. His condition was worsening every single week. It's getting worse and worse. Somebody that had an impact in my life in just so many ways. So many ways. He's the reason, I tell you guys, I iron my jeans today. I iron all my clothes, pretty much. Because of that man. It was a punishment back in the day when I was in high school. He wanted everything in excellence. And he was He's more of a pastor. He's called himself like evangelist. So he needed his time really, really like he's called like he needed to be well. He taught me so many things that I look back now and I'm like, I'm very grateful for that. But when I saw him on the phone, I just could not believe my eyes. This is someone who inspired me in so many ways. He would say, Benson, don't ever, ever give up in anything you do. He pushed me every single time. He never went to school, but he read so many. You find him in the afternoon between 1 o'clock and 3 p.m. He's reading his Bible every single time. You look at his Bible, this is his Bible, by the way. If you get a little bit closer, you see almost every section is highlighted. Somebody that never went to school but figured out how to. One of the most healthiest people. You eat something not healthy, you're like, what are you doing with yourself? He changed my life for the better. When I'm not running fast enough, he said, why are you not running fast? And he helped me see things from so many different perspectives. And for me, I saw him, we didn't talk the way we did. We're very close, we were very close. Told my boss that day, I'm going home. I made an impulse decision. That's not me. I need a plan. But to pick up yourself and head to Kenya, like without a plan, all I knew was just needed a ticket. I don't care about anything else. The person that is so important in my life, I felt like needed me. From that eye that I saw, I picked up myself, packed everything. I made that decision on Friday, and I was traveling on a Tuesday. First thing, landed in Kenya, and went straight to my grandfather's house. We lived like almost 100 to 120 yards from, like really close. He was getting ready to sleep. I was hoping to at least hear his words saying, oh, welcome home. But coincidentally, that is the day that he actually stopped talking. I was crushed at that time. I didn't know how to communicate with him. I didn't know. So, as always, he used to be the one reading the Bible for us before going to bed. And he was my turn to pick up my favorite verse that he read to me every single time. Psalms 23, that is written in my native language. Psalms 23. Every single time I would travel back to the United States, he would read me that same. And that's me reading to him when he was late. It's very coincidental that I had to travel home at that time to be with him. Also happens that I saw his condition not getting better, so I took him to the hospital, one of the highest hospitals there. The doctor said, well, we run some tests. I wish healthcare was more advanced so we could get more results like prompt. But every time, every hour, the results were getting delayed with different tests. 2 days, then the weekend, the test results are not coming in. His condition kept getting worse and worse. I was only supposed to put for 2 weeks, but then I didn't feel good about it. Then I said, I'm going to extend my stay for 1 more week. I didn't know, I'm just trying to navigate. I'm running less on sleep. I'm actually in school at that time, doing my MBA. I'm still coaching and I'm trying to navigate all these things. It got to a point where my brother was really helpful and some of the family. We stayed at the hospital almost the entire time for almost 3 weeks. What happened, which I'm really grateful for, and I'm talking about gratitude from that experience. I had traveled, I had to, from Kenya, they kind of know me a little bit, you know, and the government people know me a little bit, so they're like, Benson is in Kenya, let's fly to Nairobi for, sports tourism meeting, so you can pick his brain about something. They flew me, and they wanted me to stay the night, and I said, no, I am not staying, I gotta get back. It was just a one-day trip, a 45-minute flight and back. I went straight to the hospital, and something told me, Benson, you gotta stay the night. It's not my day to stay the night, but I was like, I'm gonna stay. Just took off my suit coat, just put it aside. My brother and I were just sitting there. Him and I were just sitting, not how we normally would. That is, we just sat around and I picked up the Bible at 9:45. My grandfather was just laying and listening. And then I read in Psalms 23. That became the only verse I read to him. Every single night, Psalms 23. And as I finished, he just put his hand up. And I just gave him, and then he held me so tight. Really, really tight. And then he asked for my brother. And then he asked for my hand again. And then I just went to get some coffee for the night because we were staying out that night. At 10:31, normally one of us would try to take turns. My brother and I were just sitting and reflecting. Then my just grandfather put her hand up, just like that, and then turned around, and my brother was just like doing something, I don't know, and then something just, I didn't feel good. Turned around and my grandfather just passed away. I mean, I didn't know how to feel at that time. I'm the person who had to come from the United States, do all the caregiving with my uncles, other uncles, and taking turns, and my brother. But it didn't make sense. It did not make any sense that I have to be there. I've extended my trips so many times to return. But why this night when actually wasn't supposed to be the night? I'm grateful for that moment. Because I get to see his last, the person that meant a lot to me, rest in peace that night. That he held my hand and said, I mean, he didn't say anything, but I could feel it. I sometimes I wonder if it was my uncle, he would be crushed. I say that to say, I am grateful because I'm in peace now. I'm in peace because if I was in the United States, if I didn't listen to myself and travel back, that would have been crushing for me. He made a big difference in my life for so many ways. My faith, every single thing, the person I needed to tell him, the first thing that I accomplished was him. That was, every time I tell him I'm speaking, he would give me something to talk about. I picked Psalms 23 today, because I know he would be happy. Came back to United States. Well, we had a massive funeral. We had over 5,000 people attend the funeral. He was a person of influence. Reason I want to live my life well in that space is because somebody showed me. And don't get me wrong, I'm grateful that I had to spend time that I did with him. All these years, now I'm realizing it was really, really short. I came back to the United States a day after the funeral, which was not good. I found myself crying because I didn't know how to. It was one of we had not lost anybody that I could remember in our family, but he had to be the first one to go. I flew from Kenya to London, all in tears. I got to London, and I was just really tired. I'm like, I haven't had sleep, and before that, actually, when we were planning the funeral, I ended up getting hospitalized because of fatigue. My body was shutting down. I was not getting rest. So many things happening. I'm trying to manage school. Now, I can do really hard things. I can navigate so many things. Fast forward, came back, still grieving, still dealing with a lot of things. Another death in the family. My second grandfather passed away. I'm hearing this at 10:30 p.m. at night. And my grandma was supposed to go to bed. My brother said, Benson, he couldn't make it. And I'm like, why? I thought he was supposed to make it. It was just a checkup, stay out of the hospital for the weekend. Here's me again. I need to get up. I need to go. I'm moving everything around so much. Thankfully, to technology, you could do a lot of different things. Now I'm just telling my clients, I need to travel, I need to do this, I need to do this. Transferring some of my clients to other people so they can be seen, the therapist. But then I get home the day of the funeral. I mean, you literally get home. Everything worked out really well. It's Olympics in Paris. You think about flights gonna be. I landed, took a small flight with my, picked up my sister. We flew a short flight there. We got there, and the funeral started at 11, and we got there at 8:30. Finished that up. I don't know how to grieve. I'm struggling so much with a lot of different things. I'm running hard as always, but I'm not taking really good care of myself. Sleep, so many things, trying to catch up with work, trying to catch up with so many things. But I say that to say, despite all the things that happened, I'm really grateful because having the courage to deal with everything was huge for me. Having to leave family, having to leave everybody, and then come back and deal with them, on my own. I'm grateful for the experiences that I learned from my uncles. I'm grateful for the experience that I learned from the experience when I was navigating everything with being at home, but also I'm very grateful for the lessons that the people in my life taught me. That as they left this world, I have so many takeaways. I have so many things that I'm now thinking about, like, in the world that we live in right now, I'm very grateful that I had that. Let's go to the next one. To be grateful, you have to let things go. To learn how to be grateful, you really need to learn how to let things go. This is one of the hardest things to get to. But this is the same thing that is holding us back from anything that we try to get to. After my experience with my grandparents, we're cool with a lot of people in my family. I mean, I don't really have anything with anybody. But I can just imagine so many things that individually you're holding that you are having a hard time letting go. And I say this to say, I don't know how your relationship are with your parents. If you have your parents or whatever, or your best friend or whatever, I am learning from my experience that as much as my dad can still call me, that's huge. I wish I had done so many things to FaceTime my grandfather, but it was because I had this, I had that. I was now quite very intentional about so many things. Living in two different worlds, that's hard. If you have someone that you need to make amends with, to find peace is to accept the things for the way they are. But there is the power of the one person that can choose to raise their hand and say, I see how things are going. I need to step up and apologize. I need to step up and be the person that says I'm sorry. Because honestly, you apologizing, you're lifting the weight out of yourself. Last part, I want to think about give yourself permission. When I was creating that, we're hiding in so many things. Fear is what's out there, right? Technology, it's out there. We want to compare with everybody else. We want to compare with who's doing what, who's doing this, who's doing that. But I say this, give yourself permission. Permission to be the best, if not the greatest version of yourself. How does that look like? How do you wake up every day? Do you wake up saying this is going to be a rough day? Because if you do, you're manifesting a what? A rough day. If you wake up with gratitude that, man, look around me. I have all these shoes. Can get a cup of coffee. I can pick up something. I can drive. The other day I was driving. I had to drive through Cliff Avenue. I don't normally go that way. Cliff, coming from the southeast side of town, and that's very busy. But I captured this picture, and I'm looking and I'm like, wow. I am grateful to be in the midst of this busy traffic. Instead of complaining about different things, if I needed to be somewhere early, I could have gotten it early. But one of the best things that I always say, I'm grateful to be behind the wheels, because then I remember the days when I didn't have the wheels. I'm grateful I have some shoes. I have shoe problems now, because then I didn't have any shoes. But why should I let something that I have stress me out? Same thing about message that I really want to say is give yourself permission. Give yourself permission to start again. Start something. Start something with gratitude. Don't wait until Thanksgiving to actually donate those things that you don't want to somebody. Instead, do the other way. Buy something brand new and give it to somebody that is in need, instead of just dropping whatever you have because you need to get rid of it. Think about starting a new tradition. Think about giving yourself a permission to be the first one to say, I'm going to stand up and say, this is who I am. I don't talk about myself in the things that I do anymore, but I've given myself permission to talk about myself the way God would like me to talk about myself. And I introduce myself as, I am this living being, the child of God, who's walking this planet, understanding the events that is happening in life, and having the thoughts that I know the thoughts about the events in my life do not control me, but I need the understanding to be able to control my emotions around so many things. We struggle finding who we are in this society. We're looking for those clicks. We want everything to go trending, but we find ourselves empty. I want to say I'm really grateful to be here today, and I'm grateful that I hope that whatever you learned from me today or spark something in your head and you can go be the best version of yourself. Thank you, and I'll take questions. I'll take questions. Yes?
Do you think you'll ever go to Boston and do the Boston Marathon?
Yes, I will. 2026. Yes.
When's your next, give it the next local race around here?
Next local race. I volunteer in a lot of them now because it's better that way. But I might do Sioux Falls half marathon. That's in August. But I might do a 10K in maybe March or April. So
we can come cheer you on.
yeah, you can. Just gotta bring a sign that says, I'm grateful that you're running for me. Other questions? Yes.
What's your opinion on treadmills?
That's why I run outside. I love treadmills. It's amazing technology. I just feel like sometimes for me, mentally, it's, I like treadmills. I use them sometimes, but I just feel like, for me, I find so much joy being outside. And it's just there's a difference because you're in the same place. You're feeling the room. You're breathing the room, the air in the room. While outside, you can see birds and see whatever. I like both. Honestly, I just prefer outside. Are you thinking about?
I don't like running at all.
Okay. That's about to change.
Yeah.
More questions? Yes.
How fast can you
In what?
run a mile?
Well, I ran low 4 minutes in a mile. That's back then.
What was the, when you told your whole story, what was the single hardest part of your story, would you say? What sticks out the most?
The single part of my story that sticks out the most. That's a hard one, but I think for me it's the hardest. I think it's really right now. I think it's really right now because we live in a world like everything is changing so fast. And we are quick to fall into a lot of different things that are happening that are new trends. And I say that to say, when you look at your phone, something is drawing you to this and this and this. I think for me, a lot of the different things that I need to be disciplined in just so many things, because then knowing that I came from, a life of not having a lot, it's easy to be drawn into like, oh, you need this, you need this. So that's, I think, that one of the challenging things for me, but I think it still goes through. The hardest thing is actually having to make that decision between buying a jacket and food. That was the hard one. Oh, I didn't talk about that. I decided to get food. Actually, I found somebody, a family that became my semi-co-host parents, took me to the church, and I got some cool stuff. So yeah, that was hard, but yeah.
What's your favorite run that you ever
The next one. The next one is my favorite. That's what I'm training for. But the previous one that I've done, I like the Houston half marathon. The Houston is my favorite. So, more questions? Yes.
When something bad does happen, like who's your support with you when it's pretty focused on our stuff?
When things get, and that's something that I've actually gotten better with. It's easy to isolate it. I talked about community, but I have running friends that are running. Those 4 guys who are in the picture. When we run, we don't meet for coffee, but when we do run, we talk about things, talk about personal things. I also have a mentor who I've established, like when things are going really, really rough. I would talk to this person, and then one of my good friends. And that took a lot of courage. To even get to this space of coming and speaking, I'm like, why would I want to tell my story? Everybody has a story. But then it's the courage to be able to ask for help. And I think that's one of the things, being able to identify 1 or 2 people that could be that person for you. And for me, I'm grateful that I have those people.
My family's Nigerian, and my dad is the most successful of his siblings. He was the first one to come to the States. And so I see it, even now in his 60s, the whole family turns to him for everything back home. Have you experienced that with your family still being in?
Yes. The question is, being a Nigerian family, coming back and people looking up to you in just so many ways. I've experienced that. Ended up, I came here, by the way, and it created a night and day difference for my family back home. We lived in a small, honestly, close to being like, okay, that house needs to be just blown away or whatever, right? That's how I grew up. I gave them a really, really nice place to stay. They have lived in a very beautiful house and stuff like that with modern stuff. They deserve that. But then there is the constant people needing for help, because then you're in United States. There is that part of it. It is very common, but it's really identifying what's more important. And for me, I think it's really figuring out ways to, now when my work is done here, how can I extend my work back home? And I promised my grandfather that I would start a foundation for him on behalf of his name. And the foundation would be really to help kids and students to have access to education, because that way they can be able to help their families and help other people as well, and help the community. So we get that a lot. I do get that a lot, but it's always really having to, because you gotta take care of yourself before you take care of everybody else. So, any other questions?
I don't have a question, but you were talking about your mindset with the snow if you don't like it. I remember about this quote I saw today. It will have less joy in your life with the same amount of snow.
Yes, that's funny. I like that. I like that. And it's crazy. It's amazing how actually being outside in the snow. See, here's my take on outside winter. It's because you get out and instantly you get hit by the cold. But the more you expose yourself to that, you realize there's just so much joy in it. And so just getting out. So I challenge you guys to just spend time outside in the cold. For a lot of it, it actually could help in so many ways. Cold plunge helps with mental stuff. So you should try something a little bit. Yeah. And in life, my mentor once told me, in life, try to do one hard thing. If you do one hard thing, what would that help you? Like you learn so much about yourself. Because fear is exactly what is stopping you when you overcome the fear. So, awesome. Anybody else? One or two last ones? Yes.
Okay, so I work in the school district, and I work with like welcoming new families to Sioux Falls from other countries. So what would be like your encouragement to families who are coming to the U.S. from
Thanks for all you do. A lot of it really is speak up, encouraging them to get out and integrate. One thing that helped me, I've worked with some families through LSS, and they invite me to come speak about, hey, how do you integrate with their community? And part of what's really cool is the more you get exposed to what's happening here, then you get the help that way. I had an opportunity to, my friend helped me figure out some things that I'm like, wait a minute, that is hockey? That's a thing. And I'm like, it's even here in town. So then they will take me to that. You start to find joy in different things like that. But the part of it is community is one thing I'm thinking about is the community. Finding resources that could help put individuals in different spaces because there's so many things that are available that could get, because it's easy for families and individuals to isolate. Part of that is they don't know what's happening. You know, they don't know Taylor Swift is somewhere. I hope they come to Sioux Falls. I'm not a Taylor Swift fan, but it's like, they do. To be like, oh, they were here. Because one thing I didn't know is Don Moran, who's a singer and super cool. I listened to him in high school, and I'm like, found out that he was in Sioux Falls after he had done his concert and left, and I'm like, wish I had somebody to tell me all these things. So, community that can help with that. So.
What's your preferred brand of shoe?
I can only talk about one.
Are you sponsored, baby?
Yes, Skechers. I do the Skechers performance. So I can only talk about that. For now. So we won't talk about any other shoes. You have the On Clouds. Yeah. If you need Skechers shoes, I'll sell you some. Not for free. Awesome. If that's all, I'll be stick around and we can talk more. But grateful for you guys and thanks for having me.
So, like you said, if you have questions or you want to follow up on parts of a story or dive deeper into anything, find him, he'll be here. Otherwise, if you want to stick around, hang out, there's a ton of chili left. Before we leave the room, I'll pray us out, but before you leave, please grab like 1, maybe 2, 3 or 4, maybe 5 bowls of chili, and then you can go. Right? Father God, we just thank you, Lord, for a day to be here, Lord, that we are here for a reason, we're here for a purpose, that we're here in this season for a purpose, Lord. Let us all remember tonight, let us all remember Benson's story, Lord, and let it be inspiring to us. And let us leave tonight with a heart like Benson has with gratitude, Lord. Let us leave with gratefulness that every decision and every hardship trial, joyous occasion, and everything, Lord, that we just find gratefulness and gratitude in it because we know that you're there with us. And Lord, let us continually focus on you, develop our relationship with you, and find godly community over and over again. Lord, we love you, we thank you, we pray that every young adult comes to Trey Ministries, and we pray this all in Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.